Greetings to everyone world over. Hearty welcome. Pleasure to have all of you. It's a green morning, green afternoon, and green evening. Extending a very warm welcome to everyone world over, celebration, jubilation, because we are moving out of even the muted virus. Things are getting better. People are getting back to the shape. Schools, colleges, universities, ITIs, polytechnics, skill centers, institutions, they all are reopening. And that's happening world over. What an alarming situation on 25th of March 2020. 2 years back, when you look at 13 days are left over to complete 2 years. At that time, complete lockdown, everybody confined to a particular place. No outing, no movement, nothing. Put the mask at residence also. What are challenges? But human beings, they are fantastic. Imagine 25th of March 2020, we had the lockdown, and 29th of July 2020, there was a new education policy 2020. And that is after 34 years of interval. And policy also such, which is a game changer because new norms and skills getting their due space, place, whatever you want to call it, education becoming more learning centric, more openness, and from STEM to STEAM, art, craft, culture, cuisine, dances, music, everything taking integral part of education. And the best part is no extracurricular, no co-curricular, no separate sports, everything to be integral part of your learning system. And education got to be learning centric, where the focus is on learning outcome. There was a time when in education, it was only teacher centric, the blackboard, whatever teacher has written over there, that is the way we used to take it. But our time has moved on. We moved from blackboard to whiteboard, whiteboard to digital board to desktop, desktop to laptop, laptop to mobile, and from mobile, everything is cloud now, cloud computing, cloud computing, all of us together. And there's a digital university also being announced. A lot is being discussed, and you can join us coming Thursday. There is going to be a wonderful deliberations on the digital university, and that we will be taking at 8 o'clock on Thursday. So ladies and gentlemen, today, let's move to the northeast part of India. Beautiful northeast. I can close my eyes and I can feel there is Tripura, there is Manipur, there is Assam, there is Meghalaya, there is Arunachal, there is Mizoram, there is Nagaland, and then I go to Sikkim. 8 beautiful states, 45 million plus people, wonderful dancing, music, culture, cuisine, and different heritage, different tribes. What a beautiful place. Such a scintillating moment, such a long journey. 1973 onward, 27 plus 20, 47 years with Northeast. Wow. We extend a very warm welcome today to Dr. Sujata Gundev ma'am. She is the Professor, Department of English at Tura Campus, Chairperson, CTEF Meghalaya Chapter. Mr. Tyrone D. Brass, who is taking care of the education vertical in the Northeast. With us, we both have come a long way. We met during pandemic. We haven't met in person, face to face, and Punjabi hug has not taken place so far. But we are having a beautiful moment together, right, for the last almost about 1.5 years together in the digital mode. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Northeast part and beautiful Northeast. International Chamber for Service Industry extends a very warm welcome to all of you. We focus on service industry and we focus on NRIs, non-resident Indian. Right from the beginning, Chamber was always concerned and associated deeply with somewhere globally linking education in such a way. Everybody has got dreams, everybody has got desires, and people, those are into rural area, village area, far-flung area, border area, when they also see a beautiful ad of any urban population or urban area, their dreams also want to see reality. Their dreams also want to come true. And we brought 1994 India's first finishing school for service industry. And I still recall etiquette, manners, gesture, body language, articulation, personality, collaboration, creativity, innovation, curiosity, positive thinking, happiness, and beautiful, lovable moments. Everybody thinking about why music is not the integral part of education, why humor, fun, dancing, happiness, passion, storytelling, all that should be the part of education. And finally, from this muted virus, we all should learn. From the coronavirus, COVID-19, we all learn there is no competition, there is collaboration. Life is too short and unpredictable. Let's eat the dessert first. Let's move forward. Right. Almost 52,000 youth, they've gone from the finishing school, maximum from the Northeast. And today when I see them in Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, ASEAN, Central Asia, I see them in Europe, I see them in Canada, USA, 52,000 children have gone from my hands. And almost 35,000 teachers, they've gone through various programs. Such a beautiful, scintillating moment, you know.
And yes.
Mr. Tyrone, we had lost the signal in between.
Yes.
we
That's right,
lost
doctor.
we lost the signal in between. I hope you had moved with me up to this slide or not.
No, you'll have to go back a bit. You were talking about 52,000 students who had benefited.
Yeah, student who got benefited is right over here. 52,000 and 35,000 teachers. And I was just showing you over here that such a beautiful dancing, music, enjoyment, happiness. It's an amalgamation, national integration. And now girls are also getting permanent commission into the armed forces. I'm very keen that more and more children should travel abroad. They should see the world. They should enjoy the world, try and avail scholarships. And you know, 7.90 billion people on this planet, there's a tough competition. If you are not there, somebody else is there. So if you get an opportunity, try and see what best you can make use of it. So teachers and youth, we are with you. We are very keen to prepare global teachers, and transforming in education is taking place. Digital has come a long way. Tomorrow morning, you can meet our president at 9:30. He would be joining us from United States. He'll be coming from Woodbury University, Burbank, and he is nowadays talking about holistic leadership. That's what we are discussing. Tomorrow at 11:30, we will be taking you to another beautiful state that is called State of Haryana, and we will talk about film tourism. You can see beautiful Pinjore Garden, Karna Lake, Kurukshetra. So tomorrow at 11:30, and we will talk about how the film tourism can build infrastructure, employment, entrepreneurship, economic multiplier, and very important above everything is the youth happiness and youth entrepreneurship. Tomorrow evening, we'll take you to Singapore. 8 p.m., you will have a wonderful session with Chavi Pant Pandey. She is the founder of the Counseling Cove Singapore, and she'll be talking about mental wellness post-pandemic, students, teachers, and parents, and that's going to be something very interesting. Every Monday evening, we bring Human Library to you. This concept has come from the Scandinavian countries, and we talk with the living legends. They talk about their own story. Last week, you had the Kargil War. You had General Malik, former Chief of Army Staff. He talked about it. So to empower our educators and youth, every Monday evening, 8 o'clock, we bring My Story. 22nd of March, that is just few days away, 10 days away, there is a World Water Day. So that happens to be on Tuesday. So to organize a program with the global part, we are going to have, you can well imagine, 11 a.m. in the morning, we are starting, and 9 p.m. we are finishing. There is going to be water management series, 75 speakers from the world over. They will talk about how water management through education ecosystem, whether it's awareness or it's skilling or it's research in our schools, colleges, and universities. Don't forget to join us live on YouTube. There's an announcement of the Digital University. We are taking it separately for all of you. Coming Thursday, that's 17th of March. Don't forget, special webinar for all of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, learning through nature, living with nature, water management, climate change, waste to resource management, carbon neutral, understanding different cultures and cultural diversities. And finally, with the digital learning, how can we be part of the entire global family? That is the way we want to work on. And whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Start believing that you're born to win. You're born to be successful. Start believing that. This is your YouTube channel. This program is going live. Till date, during the pandemic, we have completed 1,488 webinars, and we started on 25th March 2020. So, with these words, let me extend a very warm welcome this morning, this afternoon, and we have got with us Dr. Sujata, who is joining us. She is enjoying with us, and I stop and I request the entire world join me in extending a very warm welcome to Dr. Sujata Gurudev and Mr. Tyrone Debras, all the way traveling to Northeast. This is a new edition, Mr. Tyrone, which we have started from today.
Yes, Doctor.
Please go ahead.
Thank
Please
you.
take on. Please take on.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Doctor. I would like to welcome Dr. Sujata Gurudev, English Department, NEHU, Chairperson of the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, Meghalaya. a person I am afraid to speak her mind and spade a spade. Welcome, Dr. Sujata.
Thank you, sir. And it's a wonderful welcome. I mean, to be welcomed so warmly and to be part of this NEP 2020 webinar. And first of all, I would like to thank our host, the session chair, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Thank you so much for having me on board. It's a pleasure here. And thank you so much. And it's wonderful to hear about all the achievements. And then my fellow panelists, we have Mr. Tyron DeBras, who is, the most well-known and eminent educationist. So it's a pleasure to, share this moment with such erudite people. Thank you so much. Now, can I just, I would like to give a little bit, I'd like to recap on what Dr. Gulshan Sharma has just told us, that this entire forum is all about, taking people out to a global, to a global world and giving them that global perspective. It's very interesting, but NEP actually has a very global dimension to it. NEP is, it's very strange. It is a national take on a very, very global issue. It is an educational forum which seeks to address the entire globe. That is the interesting part. In a sense, it is a conduit. It is a module that connects what you call a civilizational state, which is what you call India of the past, to India of the future. And India of the future is certainly a global. It is to be seen in a global perspective. It is not a narrow thing. So I would say this is very, very interesting. There's a letter which is dated 7th December 2021, and it's a special letter which went out to all the principals and all the educational stakeholders, in which specifically the UGC had underlined certain things. That is, they said that they wanted an educational framework for global citizenship. The vision of NEP 2020 is to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian. No doubt it's there, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development, and global well-being, thereby reflecting truly a global citizen. And that is what we are looking at in NEP, basically. We are looking at global, education for global citizenship. That means...
Doctor.
Yes.
You're the first person who summed it up so well.
Thank you.
I've heard many speak about it, but the way you put it in a little nutshell, it was beautifully done. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, sir. And I would like to say that when we look at this particular policy, we have to be very clear about it, that we are looking at India of the future. We have a very young generation. Most of the Indians, and if you look at 2030, we're looking at that particular time frame, you will find that Indians are going to necessarily have to take over and play their part in the globe. They'll have to manage the entire globe. Why? Because of the very, what we have is a young population. You have the Alpha generation, you have Generation X. You have a generation that has grown up with things like, LinkedIn, they are on social media most of the time with their iPads and things like that. They're very techno savvy. And for them, it's a world without borders. The new generation is a world without borders. So if you got to educate that generation, which is a world without borders, which is reaching out to the entire globe, because remember, it is not for nothing that every CEO of almost every major corporation is an Indian, because we are there everywhere. We are like salt, we are there in every dish or in every nation. So we are always there. So I feel that this is very, very important, and the government is, through this educational policy, giving everything, okay, all it takes. So we need to be technologically very, very advanced. And the whole pedagogy of education has got to change. We need creativity, skill management. I think most of it is being taken up. For example, ICSI is doing this, that, the skill management, the technology, all this has to be there. And remember, this generation is going to face a lot of situations, because post-pandemic, many issues have come up, which are very, very clear. These are environmental issues. They are in issues dealing with a whole, it is not just education anymore. It is survival. It is having to manage. It is having to earn while you learn. It is a whole lot of, challenges out there, and you need to equip your generation for that. Now, remember, the post-pandemic period has shown us many things. Pandemic is just one thing, but to deal with it, you need youths to engage in every way, through skills, through education, through, even to be able to take on that trauma. You need to be educated for that. So the role of the teacher and the educationist is very, very seminal today. It is something that you need to take very, very seriously. And NEP looks towards, addressing many things. Climate change. Climate change is a very big thing. And if you look at climate change, it's got a domino effect. It is like many things are related to it. You've got droughts, you've got wildfires, you've got, food scarcity, you've got refugee crisis, you've got zoonotic diseases, you've got a host of related events. And you've got a very young generation which needs to be educated for that. That is why the NEP has got this concept, as I think Dr. Gulshan Sharma has just told you, that everything has been put together. Even your music, song, dance, everything has been put together in one package. It is one package. It's a skill-based package, but it is also a survival kit. I would call it a survival kit, because it is going to help you survive to your, through this very, very dark corridor into the future, and you've got to make it. And that is very, very important. And along the way, it is not only looking towards creating that new ambience and that new environment, but it's also looking towards offloading many of the colonial practices and the debris which had been, maybe useful for another period and another time, but you need something which is homegrown, which is quintessentially Indian, for the Indians and by the Indians, and exported out to the whole world. That's the concept of Vishwaguru, which I think is what we are looking at.
You have, your views are so clear on that. For the Indian, by the Indian, for a global world. So continue, Doctor. You're doing really well. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. Now, one of the important things is this, that in the NEP, they have asked, the emphasis is on thinking. Now, this sounds like, something very simple, because it appears that for all these so many thousand years, we have been doing nothing but educating for thinking. But actually, what we have been doing is educating people to think, to, repetitive thinking, not original thinking. It is very, very important that you have project-based thinking, original thinking, innovative thinking, because if you do not invest on the individual, you are certainly not going to have an output from the collective. Now here I'd like to say it goes back almost to the old Gurukul systems, which were very, very powerful because they invested everything on individual development. And I think that is something which even the, whatever the, if you look at 2000 years of Western civilization, and you look back on a 20,000 year Indian civilization, you will find that there is a clear distinction. And that distinction is we go basically for the individual. Okay, in individual development is collective development. I think that is what we need to get back to. And I think the NEP tries to put that back because they are giving you choice-based, credit system where you choose your subjects. And again, it is not a system where you say, okay, you stick to the arts or you stick to the sciences or you stick to commerce. No, you can have a cross, you can, cross subjects. You can pick and choose what you want. And that I think is very important because for a holistic development, you cannot have a person just, it's like variety is the spice of life. So you need variety, you need enjoyment, you need entertainment, you need all of that. And I think that is very important. The other point which I found very, very interesting about NEP is that for the first time, we are going back to regional, we're giving the regional component a major thrust. And that is important because the flavor, the cultural flavor comes through the regional languages. And that is very, very important. You got this, thousands of years of culture, which is very important. Now, many theorists who have talked about decoloniality, who have talked about indigeneity, they have said that one of the major things we got to reverse is this, that colonial thinking has thrown out indigenous knowledge systems. And that has to be reversed very soon. And especially the pandemic has taught us that we need to go back to those cultures which have got deep roots. You understand? So while we might branch out globally, it's like a tree. It is rooted in deep cultural roots, but branching out globally. There is no dichotomy. There is no binary sort of opposition between global and national. I would say that national is global and global is national. Just look at the world today. Nowhere, at no point of the globe can you stay isolated. And it's very, very important. Look, there's a book by Alvin Toffler called Future Shock. And that talks about how the future generations have to, within seconds, they have to assess, they have to relate, and they have to understand a world in which, you have war on one side, you have pandemics on the other side, you have droughts on the other side, you have your own family problems. All that you have to handle. So in a way, you might say the youth of tomorrow, which is what NEP is looking at. It is really creating the youth of tomorrow. 2030 is a person who has to be multifaceted. You have to really be your own hero. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult for you to survive. And I think that is very, very, very important. And there are books like we have the Dangerous Derangement by Amitav Ghosh, which again tells you about what happens. When climate change happens, it happens so suddenly. So when such things are happening, you need the youth to be there to take their place as leaders in a society, because India may be an old civilization, but it's going to be in the hands of very young people. And those young people have to be highly qualified and equipped if you want them to handle it. You understand? We can't have so many billions and billions of people not knowing what to do. So you see, it's a very, very powerful thing. And we all together are stakeholders to make this NEP work, because it's very important. You have to seed that generation. You need to do it because, and educational system which is unrelated to society and environmental issues is, it is like plastic. It should be thrown away. You need to have an educational system which is ventilated, in which environmental factors like, for example, tree planting, water resource management, all this, water harvesting, many of the indigenous systems of knowledge, medicine, everything, all that should be there. And I think what I liked about NEP is that it has at least opened a window of thought, which is a new way of thinking, that we can look at things differently. And I think that very aspect of thinking of making a difference makes all the difference. That is very, very important. And remember one thing, the greatest challenge to the new world is going to come through artificial intelligence. There, science is not something where you have outdated scientific know-how. It is moving rapidly, and it's a world of nanobots. It's a world where, medical science is going to go so fast. You even transhumanism, cyborg, so much you'll have to be dealing with within 10 years. It is not going to be a generation, which is going to be moribund within some spheres. No. And we got to equip our Indian youth, our children. We got to equip them for that world. And they are going to be global players. Germany, America, Japan, every one of them has got an aging population. So who's going to run the machinery of the world? Obviously, Indians. Who else is there? I would say we are center, we are placed in the, in one of the most beautiful, I would say it's one of the greatest challenges. It's a very exciting time to live. It's an exciting time to be born. There are, for the youth of who are born like 2010 and things like, very recent, who are growing up. It's a very challenging period. And I would say about the pandemic, that many youths found many avenues. They were honing in on their skills. They were doing what they have never done before. And they were looking out for each other, for their families, for their communities. I would say this global networking is very important. But then there are the dangers. There's the dark web. Very, and then there is the greater danger of living in a hyper reality world where, maybe if there is too much of technological advancement, you may not be able to distinguish between what is real and what is unreal. So that dark fascination with technology is something we're going to try to have to understand and come to terms with. And I think here, it is going to be, the teachers keeping pace with the fast pace of evolutionary thrust is the most important. We just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, and, Doctor, your views that you have expressed this evening are fascinating, and especially having a young India to take on the world.
Yes.
There's one thing that I would like to just before this, we had this program, Dr. Gulshan disappeared from the screen. Okay, and
yes,
he's somewhere in a very in a beautiful city, maybe Chandigarh or Delhi, where you have all the amenities. And we here in the Northeast, we suffer from this problem frequently.
Yes,
and if you're going to have hybrid learning, which is going to be the norm because of the pandemic, yes, we need to have good connectivity, which I feel has to be addressed immediately. Your views on that?
See, India is going to be, it has become digitalized India, because if you notice, even in the pandemic, one of the things which I found out as I move around in the villages, etc., I found that, even the, the money or the, what was being given by the government was reaching everyone, because they had this banking which had become digitalized. If there was no banking which was digitalized, the fallout would have been even worse. Okay. But for education, yes, we need very high speed internet. And I think India is going to get to that very, very fast. And something tells me, because we have one thing, if you notice, which Indians do very well, they're good at meeting challenges. It is under pressure that we do our best, and perform our best. And I have a feeling that is the most important thing, that with the youth today, and I think all educators, they need to move out from their comfort zones into the villages. If they could also play their part, and not just look towards the government, maybe we can get things done, because mobilizing people with awareness is the first step. You need to tell them how to go about it. I mean, how do you digitalize? What are the resources available? There are many schemes. That's what I have found out, that there are a lot of schemes available, but the information has not percolated down. So maybe, and that is another thing in NEP, that they are trying to break that isolated ivy, that ivory tower, that these are the elite and so-called elite, and the rest are not there. It's like, that is why you have so much of exit and entries into the NEP. You can come in, you can go for your, jobs and all if you require it, and then come back. So it is like education is now being broad-based, and it's not time-bound. That is the most important thing, because I've noticed very often in the most brilliant people in villages cannot always give a long span of time for education. They need to take time off to address, household issues, and then come back to it. So if you can do that, it becomes easy, But I think we have to, those, especially universities and all, have to percolate down to colleges, to schools, to villages. I think that networking has to be done. This matrix has to be created. That is our business also, not just the government. Government is us also to some extent.
That's correct, Doctor. I just lost you for about maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was saying that we have to create a matrix, a digital matrix, okay? And where I think we also have to find out ways and means to empower our neighborhood, the villages in our neighborhood, things like that. So if all of us take it upon ourselves as responsible citizens to play our part, I think it makes it much easier for the government. This just looking to the government, you do, that doesn't work anymore. Let's look to ourselves and say, what can I do to help this? First of all, let's think together. That is important.
That's right, Doctor. Coming to the SDGs, prior to the recent one where Meghalaya's 23rd position, according to Niti Aayog, Meghalaya was the 25th, now it's 23rd. And I still think we have a long way to go. According to you, how are we managing, how is Meghalaya managing to improve itself? Number one, because overall we are 5th poorest state in the country, Meghalaya. And being the 5th poorest state in the country, and we have a long way to go. According to you, how do you see we can address these SDGs?
See, I would like to put my views very clearly on this point, that yes, Meghalaya is supposed to be the 5th poorest state. But, historically, do you know that Meghalaya, or this region, it was not Meghalaya then, it was trading with almost all its, the fellow, it was not Bangladesh, but those areas, okay? If you look at ancient history, you go back a little in history, you will find that a lot of trade had been practiced. So what is important is that Meghalaya is very well placed vis-a-vis the Southeast Asian countries. It is also well placed with, very close to certain neighbors. So what I feel is that trade, commerce, corridors have to be opened up. And I think, first of all, we get out of that tank that Meghalaya is the 5th poorest state. Yes, on statistical grounds, it could be the fifth poorest. But one thing, once you get to innovating, when, it's, if you are, all the time banging your head on a closed door, it's not going to open for you. But if you start opening some other doors and start pursuing other avenues, because one thing we have in Meghalaya is we have food. Okay, we do have rice. If you look at the villages, food is there, and it is just a matter of how we, are trading our commerce. I think if we could just get to it. Today, I was in an interview, and one of the people out there, he was telling me that, see, farmers are producing, but they are not able to sell it at high prices. In fact, they sell it at very low prices. So supposing we could create avenues for trade, for commerce, for even education, we could do, reach out in a different way. Perhaps more like, education, if you don't have the fancy buildings, we could go for a more Shantiniketan style. I am very sure about it that Meghalaya can be #1, because I can tell you there is no dearth of talent, there is no dearth of intelligence, there's no dearth of, it is one of the most beautiful states anybody can have the privilege to stay in. And I personally feel we need to change that. We need to change that bracket, terminology that we are the fifth poorest state. We need to find the ways. And now, especially with NEHU, there are many, there's this incubator, cell that has come up where many new innovative ideas, they are being given shape. Okay. And there is agribusiness management, which again is entrepreneur based. So I think now even NEHU is focusing fully on helping development. So I think if we all push together and above all have 100% feeling that we're going to make it, and no label, no statistics is going to stop us, we will make it.
I can see your positive message over there.
Yes,
Doctor?
because I have taught in colleges where youths came who didn't know a word of English. We began that way. And now most of them are, I would say, erudite teachers. So we've seen it all. We've seen the build-up. So I know that it is very much possible to fight against all odds. And if we can find the avenues, and there are people who are very much interested in investing in Meghalaya, and very much there. You just need to get around to doing it. Perhaps we have not made that, total effort, all out effort to get past any such poverty label, we'll have to do it.
I think you're the right person being the chairperson of the CTEF, Meghalaya, because you speak with a lot of passion and conviction.
Yes, because
I really like that.
Because I have heard, I've been with women entrepreneurs, and there's this particular lady, she specializes in getting all the dropouts, she collects them, the whole lot of them, she tells, come on, let's see. And she puts them back into education. She, it's all her enthusiasm, and she just sees what talent do they have. Somebody is interested in a particular kind of line of business, food business, fine. Someone is interested in dancing. So fine, you become an entertainer. It is just your investment in the person. If you believe, they can believe too. We can never give up our belief. If we can believe in that youth will go and do it out there. And I tell you, I have seen our youths, they are truly brilliant, because I have taught people from very remote areas with the odds against them. They beat those odds, and they happen to be some of my best students. I'm very proud of them. So yes, I think we can. Very encouraging
words, Doctor. Very encouraging words, Doctor. I really like that. And you've coming from Tamil Nadu, you studied in Shillong, of course, and now you're giving it back here in Garo Hills. That's wonderful. Dr. Gulshan, are you there?
I'm
Dr.
very much,
Gulshan?
I'm very
Yes,
much
doctor.
there. I'm enjoying. I'm very much there. I'm enjoying the session. And I handed over the session to you. When you will tell me to close the session, then only I'll put in. not I'll come in between. Let it go on, because as a good student, you know what is the best communication? Be a good listener. Be a good listener. If you're a good listener, you perceive the things much better than when you communicate verbally. So you both should go on. I'm enjoying. I'm taking my notes.
All right. Dr. Sujata?
Yes.
Dr. Sujata, yes. Could you tell us a little more about, since you're working with young people in the universities, could you tell us a little more about NEHU itself and the different departments and how the students have responded during the pandemic and now?
Okay, well, I will be talking about our Tura campus because I am familiar with that. It began with 3 departments, that is English, Garo, and then we had education, and then slowly the science departments came in. Now the idea was, and Tura campus was actually created as an outreach to the people of Garo Hills. It was meant to showcase their potential and their creativity and their academic know-how. And so this was created. It was almost like creating a dream. And initially we had this elephant corridor through our campus, the land which we are now occupying. And that was something which we were very, very concerned about because we did not want to disturb the elephants. And there was, all kinds of views like let the elephants walk past and things like that. But the elephants themselves have stopped coming slowly. And so this campus is actually a campus which is very skill-based. Like you have RDAP, which is rural development and agricultural production. And then you have agribusiness, which is very, again, which is helping a lot of people. Then you have management, and then you have history and archaeology, and we have social welfare, and I think forestry has come up. Education is always there and has been doing very well. And the Garo department needs special praise because they not only have managed to preserve the entire culture, but their research has managed to, put that in the forefront of literature, and that is very, very important. And I can say this much that during the pandemic, our students, what I found was that moving between offline and online classes, especially, they were so eager to come back. Every student was so eager to reconnect with their teachers because, to have an offline class is a visually a very delightful experience. An online class cannot give you that feeling because somehow your teacher in front of you and the students in front of you, that's a very different thing. But one of the terrible things which we really faced was this connectivity issue. That was one thing we had a very big problem with. And there are students who come to Tura campus who come from very remote villages of Jaintia Hills, not just Garo Hills, but Jaintia Hills, because we have huge numbers coming in from Jaintia Hills. And so in the remote villages, connectivity was a problem. But I think with WhatsApp, we were using every form of social media, whether it's WhatsApp or email or things like that. I think both the teachers and the students made a great effort to connect. And what I found was, and this I'd like to speak about, that a crisis like pandemic and things like that takes a very, very terrible toll on the psychological makeup of a person. Because for the first time, the students were not just students in school, they were students at home. And being a student at home is a whole new concept because you have to look out for your family. You have to also, in many cases, our students, as I said, they had to contribute to the family income because in a place like, especially Meghalaya, and I think it happened with the whole of India, incomes were just like, it was just like something that overnight you just don't have any, you don't have any funds, and you just don't know where's the next meal coming from. And that is where I found that most students, network together to create these, online delivery shops, this, online eateries and things like that, make the food and sell it. So I found it so beautiful. And I think that is why NEP is so relevant, because there too we have skill-based learning. Just learning without skills, survival skills, is like, throwing a person into the water and he doesn't know how to swim. It just doesn't work. So we need to be, have a common sense based approach first. And I think that really, I feel that during the pandemic, we learned a lot, we grew a lot, and most importantly, we stopped bothering about the little trivial differences amongst people. We started seeing what we are together reduced to our common humanity. And I think the world today requires that kind of understanding. And I think the pandemic was one such time when people went beyond all borders, all national borders, any type of borders and separation. I think we saw what it was to be quintessentially an Indian. Everyone was helping each other. And yes, we saw humanity at its best. And I think the same with our students. They've pulled through brilliantly, and we're very proud of them. In fact, we have a very, very soft corner for this batch because, as I said, you are the bravest, you're the most courageous. You faced what no other generation faced, and you've pulled through. And I think that's a dauntless spirit and something we should be very proud of as teachers.
That's true, Doctor. I like the way you bring out so much of positivity in your views. That goes so well. I have you've introduced me to this oneness program, Ekam.
Yes.
And each time I watch the program, thank you for that, which you have introduced. Each time I watched it, I once put a question over there.
Yes.
This should have been part of the NEP because it actually uplifts you.
Yes,
Yes,
because I'll tell you, I would like to speak about this. You see, when we talk about, empowerment, what is the basic empowerment which you require? You see, we are facing, let's put it very clearly, there's the world out there and the world within. What happens is whatever's happening out there is a reflection of what is happening within. You are unhappy within, you're going to create an unhappy world. You're a happy person, you're going to create a happy world. So you need those resources that stabilize you within. And for that, you need a very high energy base. And consciousness is basically energy. And when you look at a civilization like India, what we have to give to the whole world and what we are giving now to the whole world. I mean, yoga is everywhere, from Saudi Arabia to Russia to China to any of that is one thing which you will find networking the entire globe. And that is, yoga. That is, that mind-body connection. And yogic systems are the most essential for your health. And your consciousness level, that empowerment from within to face the world, to take on everything as a challenge. I learned early in life never to speak about problems, but challenges. When you look at everything as a challenge, you just have to focus on it. And what is most important is that your vision and goal is set. Now, ACOM is one of these, is a world center for enlightenment, and thousands have come there, and they have, gone back, very highly successful people and highly motivated people with a vision and a goal, and very well connected to their inner space. Now, whether you call that inner space the divine, or you call it with any of the epithets you wish to use, the fact is that we are, until you get to that level of consciousness, you are not going to respect nature. And if you look at the ancient civilizations, each and every one of them respected nature. You look at all the Indians, the Chinese, the Japanese. You look at the Native American civilizations, they respected nature, and they looked at this world and this planet as planetary consciousness. Today, science has gone to that level. They use the word planetary consciousness, that you need to understand this globe is matrixed. You have this beautiful book by Erwin Laszlo, The Global Shift in the, this consciousness shift in the global brain, that all of us are matrixed together, that something happening over there is affecting us. Similarly, any peace, any calm, any sense of our own, that inner connect with divinity, it will affect the world, completely affect the world. And so we have this concept of, enlightened beings. We need a small percentage of that to create that transformation in the world, highly enlightened beings. And I think that is happening all over the world. People are waking up to that. It's happening almost spontaneously because we believe in that. And that, I think, is very important for youths, because you can't have high stress jobs. You cannot go through that, the kind of pressure you go to and you're put through without having a renewal system, a recycling system, a recharging system. And that dynamo is obviously the global connect, that divinity, that is the entire globe. It is a divine matrix. So you need to be connected to that. And the way you do that is through, ACOM and many of you have schools of thought and ancient practices which reconnect you with that. We have yoga, we have Tai Chi, we have so many systems. And I think it's time to go back to that, so that we are very empowered people. That is, in fact, I really appreciate this question, because that is the true empowerment. It is not, yes, you can put in a lot of knowledge and things like that, but until you light up the person from within, it's like a flame, it has to be lit, it has to burn, it has to glow from within. And that is very important. And I think that is true empowerment.
Yeah. You just said we are empowered people, no doubt. And there is ever since I started attending these ACOM classes or ACOM sessions, there's a lot of new things going on in my head. And I appreciate what you did for me. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
We could keep talking on this, but we have a slot only for 1 hour. And I will now ask Dr. Gulshan to give his closing remarks. Dr. Gulshan?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tyrone. You can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So first of all, my deep gratitudes and thanks to Dr. Sujata Gurudev ma'am. It was a wonderful session. It was a wonderful insight. And today, I do not know which time, how many times I have completed. NEP 2020 has again been touched, because more than 12,000 speakers have come in last 2 years on this platform. And so much of mental marathon shaking up and cerebrum is moving ahead. but it is very interesting every time. I will pick up two things from there. The lady which you mentioned who specializes in dropouts, I would like to bring her on the session. Mr. Tyrone, you can write down. Please take a note of that, because Dr. Sujata mentioned that there is a lady who specializes particularly to focus on the children. Those are dropouts. She collects them and thereafter she works on to them. I would like that she should come on this platform. We should get her, because ultimately we lost a lot of people during this pandemic. And what Dr. Sujata made a mention, that was something very interesting. Life is full of challenges. Challenges means life. The other side of the coin, when you look at it, it is challenge. I come from the armed forces background, and all these years, what I have realized, when you go for the jungle warfare and survival camp, intentionally you are given only 1 liter water and you're given 1 kg of the ration, and you have to survive for 10 days. And this human body has got so much of endurance. Sometimes we do not know what is our potential. So one of the agenda of this program and this particular series and this particular chamber is every child, every person, every human being, please understand you have got a tremendous potential. You have to unlock that potential. You have to unleash that potential. And secondly, again, when she was telling, when children get drop out and that lady picks up, another idea which came to my mind, I would like to share. No two human beings are same on this planet. When Dr. Sujata enters her residence, people know she is Dr. Sujata. When Mr. Tyrone goes to his residence, his children know he is our dad. When I come home, everybody knows he is Dr. Gulshan Sharma. We all are different. Then why we are comparing? With whom do we have our competition? From today, from this webinar, I wish to re-endorse. You don't have competition with anybody in this world. You have a competition with yourself. Improve every moment, whatever best you can do to the humanity. You don't have competition with anybody. With whom will you compete? In a very polite way, I would like to endorse. I joined armed forces. I wanted to retire from there only. Coming from a government, rural, rustic, interior, far-flung area, one shot and one shirt, one shot and one shirt. I passed my 11th standard. My father could not afford. And I used to take tuitions in the evening to help my both the brothers. But there was a fire in the belly. I said, now, of course, you can go through the Microsoft owner's views. He says, it is not in your hand to born in a particular family, but it is a shame if you die poor because you have not worked on yourself. And if mentally you are poor, nobody can help you on this planet. First of all, mentally you have to get rich and start believing. I'm giving you something very interesting. She gave you 2 books and she quoted Dr. Sujata. I'm going to read the book of the Ghosh. I had not read that earlier. I just flipped through and I never bothered, but I'll go through now. Alan Toffler, I spent time with him. And he was the first person in 1970 when he wrote that book. He took 3 years leave and he went to a factory. He worked as a worker in the factory to understand. And if you see the chapter number 18 of Future Shocks, is completely on the education. How is it possible that what technology we are adopting today, he knew that time? How was he talking that point of time?
Yes.
That is something that is amazing. Today, before we close this session, I want to give you something. And please make a promise to yourself. Don't make a promise to Dr. Sujata, Mr. Tyrone, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Don't make a promise to us. Make a promise to yourself. if you make a promise to yourself, please watch one video before you sleep. Even if it is late, no problem. It is 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 3 seconds. The video title is How to Manifest Anything. How to Manifest Anything. And it is by Bruce Lipton. You
Yes.
must go through. It's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks back, he has loaded. And I have already watched 47 times this video. This video makes me feel, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma, you're 20-year-old. You've got a long way to go. You have to contribute a lot to this universe before you disappear. And if you do not watch this video today, before you sleep, don't blame me tomorrow morning when you get up, because you are going to be a different person if you watch this video. I repeat it for you. How to manifest anything. Nobody should feel that Bruce Lipton has given me any marketing money to tell his name twice. Nothing of that sort. The only thing
I'll watch it, Doc.
The only thing is, I have met all motivational speakers abroad. I've been teaching for 28 years, 2 months going abroad. Our chamber thought one fine day we are going to focus on non-resident Indian diaspora. And our efforts are, please understand, the world is very highly populated, but at the same time, certain countries are thinly populated, certain countries are heavily populated. And what is my challenge? What is our challenge? India has got quantity. What we need is quality. What we need is speed. What we need is technology. And what we need is, you've got to have a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. Stop thinking that I'm born here, I'm born in this state, I belong to this religion, I belong to this caste, this creed and all. I might have been born in North India, but my soul and spirit belongs to Northeast part of India. I am not going to get moksha. I am going to be reborn as a tribal youth in the Northeast part of India. I'm so convinced inside, because last 47 years, my journey with the Northeast, it has given me a new life. It has given me a new conviction. It has given me a new thought process. And this new education policy, fine. There are 3 stages you have to understand. Policies are made. Second part is policies to be implemented. And third part, the policies to be monitored. Are we going to spend 6% of the GDP? What we have committed in this new education policy on this is very important. Secondly, I'm very happy, like Dr. Sujata was mentioning in between, these challenges will make you more strong. These challenges will make you feel you can achieve extra mile. Go through yourself, understand yourself, talk to yourself. You will understand. There was somebody who broke the barrier running 1 mile in less than 4 minutes. Till that time, nobody believed you can run in 4 minutes. Because somebody, yes, when somebody did that, even the 11th standard child could also run. It's a belief. So all the people, those that are on this program, start believing. The world is because of you. The world is because of you. You matter. Your life matters. Your contribution matters. Nobody should feel, how does it make a difference if I don't work? India will still move on. If everybody starts thinking that way, then how India will move, we all understand. Now come my challenge. Why do I say travel, go outside, go for a few years, learn the experience, gain the experience, come back to your own soil, contribute to your own humanity. But unless you don't travel, no book can teach you that much what that travel gives you. I have traveled 119 countries on my passport. I have taught in 28 countries. and it has made me more humble that I am the most illiterate person on this planet. There's PhDs and masters and DLids and all that bullshit. It is nothing. It's all theoretical. Might be I can just put my name, Dr. Gulshan Sharma. I'm happy to be a compounder as long as I can contribute to the world than to be writing Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Finally, children, there are countries where there is a scarce population, where we don't have youngsters, where we don't have young, and let's not call teachers, let's not call trainers, let's not call subject specific specialists, let's not call counselors. I got the other day word neuro coach. The future is altogether different. We all are neuro coach. We all got to understand the humanity neuro system. And that's why today I laugh sometime. When we were doing army training, they used to tell us, dig this pit and fill it by evening. Dig this pit, fill it by evening. And I used to consider myself, what a bloody fool work is given to us. They are telling us to hold that dig and thereafter put the same mud back in that pit. What is this nonsense, useless work? I realized they were building my mental endurance. Tomorrow, if I have to tell a soldier that dig the pit, I should know how much time does it take to dig the pit. Education is no more theoretical. Definition of education has totally changed. I lost my very dear friend, Sir Ken Robinson, during this second wave. And he used to say, what is the purpose of education? Is it economical? Is it cultural? Is it social? Is it personal? And also, do watch the video of Dr. Sugata Mitra, Hole in the Wall. Do we kill creativity of the children by teaching them A for apple when A stands for 26 another alphabets? Why are we teaching only A for apple? So finally, what lady made a mention was something very interesting, that this new education policy, you've got to emphasize on your thinking, repetitive thinking, innovative thinking, creative thinking, logical thinking, analytical thinking, futuristic thinking, and positive thinking. Positive thinking. There is no more competition. It's collaboration, collaboration. And all the people, those are watching this particular program, I know, I'm looking forward to that man in his graveyard who introduced examination system. He must be turning in his graveyard, because every night I curse him. Why examination system has been introduced? It is not needed. It is not required. We all got to be collaborative. Whom are we competing with? Let's take those countries, those are doing extremely well. And Dr. Sujata also made a mention that the beautiful part of NEP is now you can love your regional language. You can love your own local language. And there was a very alarming situation from the United Nations earlier. Lot of languages will disappear from the world if they will not be practiced and if they will not have the population growth. India is a future capital as far as service industry is concerned. Education is service, skill is service, competency is service, capability is service, neuroscience is service, and neuro coach are service sectors. Please get up, build your skill. If you love music, be the most outstanding musician of the world. If you enjoy dancing, till the time you fall on your floor, keep dancing. If you enjoy drawing, till the time you feel the whole world has got changed with your drawing, keep drawing. Because my mentor tells me, either you have to give 10,000 hours or you have to give 10 years of your life if you want to get the iota of a particular subject, whatever you want to learn. Learn, relearn, skill, upskill, reskill, and move up yourself. All the youngsters, those are watching this particular program, let's put your hands together. Let me see if I can play the kind of a music for her again, if it's possible, because ultimately, before we close the session, I wanted to clap for everybody whosoever joined in this program. And I wanted to clap for Dr. Sujata and Mr. Tyrone and all our participants. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have all of you. The world is beautiful. You all are beautiful. Northeast is beautiful. Get up, get up, get up. You've got to do something. The time has come. We all got to move on. I want to see you on television. I want to see you on radio. I want to see you in TV serials. I want to see in music albums. I want to see you as a not teacher. I want to see you as a learner, because teachers are co-learners. That is the way we got to move on. Thank you very much. Deepest gratitudes and heartiest thanks